Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our final lesson in the English for Beginners course. So, guys, we have a brilliant lesson. I have a brilliant lesson for you all tonight. It is job seeking and the perfect CV. It is the final step in the written section of this course where we will look mainly at writing a CV. But before we do, let's just quickly recap what we covered in lesson 7, written English for emails, where you learned all there is to know about punctuation. You explored the different linking words and phrases, and you gained confidence writing professional emails. People asking what a CV is already. Just wait. We will get there and you will learn. So what are we going to cover today in our final lesson? Well, you will learn to make successful job applications. You will master creating the perfect CV, and we will identify and review the common mistakes made. And you will look to your next steps in education. And of course we'll finish as always with a summary, no look ahead to the next lesson, but of course a Q&A. So, it's all very emotional, it's our final lesson, but we will save the tears for the end of the lesson, okay? For now, let's just jump straight in and begin with job applications. So, what do we think? What different types of job applications are there? So what different types of job applications do we come across in today's world? And it's very simple. We come across both physical and online job applications. So physical one means a piece of paper that you write on, but more commonly we have online applications. So most companies will offer an online application, just like this here, okay? This is what we would most encounter online or on job sites when you are applying for a job. So what are my top tips for filling out a job application? So I've compiled these together to make everything easy for you guys. So let's go through these. And my first top tip, I'm sure you can all guess, is to read it carefully. Read the entire form carefully. Know what is being asked before you fill out the form, okay? Employers may use the application form to judge how well you follow instructions and how careful you may be as an employee, okay? So read it carefully. Make sure you know what's being asked and then fill it out, okay? If you answer questions incorrectly on a job application, then straight away that's a red flag for an employer, and they'll say, this person doesn't even know how to follow simple instructions. Throw that away. We don't want him or her, okay? So read it carefully, please. It's very simple. Next up, fill in all the fields, okay? What do I mean by fields? I mean every empty section, okay? Answer all questions. Fill in the blanks completely, accurately, and truthfully. When something doesn't apply to you, write NA, okay? Don't just leave it blank. If it doesn't apply to you, write NA, and that means non-applicable or not applicable. It does not apply to you, okay? Then check your answers for correct spelling, grammar, punctuation, now that we all know how to use punctuation, and accuracy, okay? So make sure everything is filled out. If it's something that doesn't apply to you, use NA, because then the employer knows you've seen it, but it's not applicable. Next up, the position. Now, when I say position, I mean the job you are going for, okay? And do not just say anything. make sure you give a specific job title, because this shows that you're not desperate, that you do have one job or one goal in mind. If you send a job application to a company and just say you're looking for any job, they're not going to hire you because they'll think that you're not ready for any of the specific jobs. Okay? So, that's why you need to make sure to give a specific job. Next up, expected salary. Now this is a tricky one. Employers may use this question to screen out applicants, okay? To whittle them down, to get rid of some applicants. So what I would say, this is just my tip, I would say to give a salary range. So for example, 25 to 27,000 or something. So a range, not an exact salary, from this amount to this amount. Or write negotiable. And negotiable means that you are willing to negotiate. You're willing to talk about what salary you would receive. Okay? Use one of these responses. Even if you know the wage, okay, still use one of these, because it leaves you room to try and get a higher wage later, okay? So think about that. I would always say negotiable, because then at least it won't be until the interview that you have to mention it. Next up, your personal info. Okay, this is very straightforward. Just make sure you give an accurate email and phone number. That's the main thing. That's how they will contact you. So your personal information, make sure it's accurate so they can contact you. Now, next up we've got education and training, work experience, and special job related skills. I am not going to go into these right now, because we will cover them in detail in the next section, in the CV section, okay? So education and training, work experience, and special job related skills, we are going to look at in a few minutes, so don't worry about those. Next up, reason for leaving. Okay, now, be careful when giving a reason for leaving your previous job or your current job if you're working at the moment. Be careful. Even if your previous boss was a jerk or an idiot, you remember that word from lesson 6? So even if your boss was an idiot, you should never be negative, okay? Always try and give an answer like conflicting hours, or a better opportunity for advancement, a lack of work, okay? Try and give a reason that is positive. You're looking for more challenging work, okay? Your hours were conflicting. Never say, I hated the job, it was boring, my boss was an idiot, okay? Don't be negative. We never want to come across negative about anything in a job application. Next up, your references, okay? Now, references are people who can give an account of how you are in work, okay? They're called referees. So, when you give references, they are people who will talk highly of you, former managers, former employers. And most employers will call references, okay? So, make sure you tell the person if you are using them as a reference. And the biggest point, don't use relatives, okay? Even if your father was your manager, or your father was your boss, or your mother was your team leader, don't use relatives as a reference, because it looks bad. It looks like they weren't actually working with you, you just have them on the job application so they'll say nice things about you. So don't use relatives as a reference because it looks bad. And finally, your last details, okay? Make sure to include a current date, okay? So the current date. Check carefully that you have completed the application, filled out every field. Once you fill out this application, okay, it's a binding document. That means anything that you have lied about, any misinformation, could be a reason for you to get fired, for termination of your contract. So make sure that everything is correct. And if you are asked when you can begin working, make sure to allow enough time to give notice to your current employer. So they are the final details. Just check over everything. Check over everything, okay? So guys, what do we think? Which of the following is unprofessional for a job application? Using negotiable for the expected salary, listing your skills, using your Shaw Academy diploma for education and training, talking negatively about a former job. So which of these is unprofessional for a job application? Well, let's go through them. Using negotiable for the expected salary, that's perfectly okay. Listing your skills, of course you would do that on a job application. Using your Shaw Academy diploma for education and training, some of you may be wondering that. Of course you can. This is why you are doing this course, to improve your CV, to improve your skills. So of course it is number 4. Very well done, Shaima, Marima, Iman, Gerta, everyone, Nevin, Varalakshmi, who got that one right. Never talk negatively about a former job, even if it was terrible, even if the job was crap, okay? Don't talk negatively about it. Try put a positive spin. You need more challenging work, okay? You had conflicting hours. They didn't have enough hours, okay? So there's lots of positive spins you can put on it. Now, we've looked at the job application, and that leads us into the next part. After the job application, you will usually need to submit your CV, okay? So hold off all the questions about CVs, because I am going to tell you now. CV stands for curriculum vitae, and that is a Latin word for, a Latin phrase for course of life, okay? So CV means curriculum vitae, and it's Latin for course of life. And this is a summary of your experience, your skills, and your education. Now, it's worth noting that those of you in the USA and Canada, it is known as a resume, and this is actually the French word for summary, okay? So in the USA and Canada, they call it a resume, but it's the exact same, CV, resume. I am going to call it a CV for the rest of the lesson, because that's what we call it here in Ireland. Now, before we write our CV, let's look at some top tips, because we love Mark's top tips. They're the best. What is our first top tip? Keep it concise. I can't stress this enough. What does concise mean? Who can tell me what concise means? So keep it concise. What does that mean? Who can tell me? Get typing in those chat boxes. Of course, it means short, okay? Not too long. Usually, a CV should be no more than 2 pages. No more than 2 pages. That's 2 A4 pages. At the very, very, very most, you can have 3. But try and keep it to 2 pages. And the reason for this, employers spend on average 8 seconds looking at any one CV. 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm not going to count to 8, but you get the point. Okay, so if they only spend 8 seconds looking at it, a definite way of getting your CV passed by is to have it too long. So keep it punchy, keep it short, keep it to the point. Save any difficult or long details for the interview. Just keep it concise. Have all the important information easy to read in short sentences. Next up, tailor it to the job. This is also so important. What does tailor it mean? Well, if you get a suit tailored, what does it mean? It means it is made to fit you. Okay? If you get a tailored suit, it's made for you. It's made to fit you. So, tailor your CV to the job. Make the CV to fit the job you are applying for. So, if you're throwing out 20 or 30 CVs to lots of different employers, don't send out the same one. It's a mistake everyone makes. Edit your CV for each job. Take the time to change it. Research the company and use the job advertisement to work out what skills you should point out to them. They will appreciate this effort and it will get you noticed. Next up, include a personal statement or a professional summary. Now, we will look at this in the sample CV later on, but basically don't just assume an employer will see how your experience relates to their job. Instead, use this personal statement or professional summary to explain why you are the best person for the job. And this is on the first page of the CV, as we'll see in a couple of minutes. Next up, don't leave gaps. Do not leave any gaps. If you have obvious gaps on your CV, 2 years between 2 different jobs, okay, then that immediately will make the employer suspicious, okay? Why was he not working for these 2 years? Where was she for this 6 months, okay? It makes them suspicious. And they won't give you the benefit of the doubt because they have 800 other CVs to go through and to choose from. So if you've been out of work, it can be worrying, but like everything, just put a positive spin on it, okay? For example, did you do a course? Maybe you're out of work now, but look, you're doing an English course. So include that on your CV. During this time, I upskilled myself by learning English, by learning this. Maybe you did some charity work or volunteer work. Include that. Did you develop any skills such as communication, teamwork, or management? If so, talk about it. Don't just leave an obvious gap between 2 pieces of employment, like a year-long gap, okay? Make sure you explain it in a positive way. Next up, keep it updated. Even if you are in a job, even if you've been in the same job for 10 years, you should keep your CV up to date, whether you're looking for a job or not. Every time something significant occurs in your career, record it so you don't forget about something that could be important later on, okay? As soon as you get your certificate for this course, update your CV. You may forget in a couple of years or a couple of months. So, always keep your CV updated. Next up, the error of your ways. Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean, employers do look for mistakes on CVs. And if they find them, it makes you look really bad. So, if an employer has 800 applicants, 800 CVs to go through, then any excuse for them to dismiss your application, they will jump at. So if there's a mistake, whether it's spelling or grammar, then that's an excuse for them to say, okay, that's him gone, that's her gone, bad spelling, bad grammar, see you later. Okay, now I've only 799 CVs to go through. Okay, Yara, concise means short and to the point. Okay, short, easy to read information, only what's important. That's what concise means. So, make sure to double check, triple check that you've no mistakes or errors in your CV. Next up, tell the truth. It should be obvious, but people always lie on their CV, and please don't. Stop it. Lies on your CV can land you in a whole heap of trouble when it comes to checking your background and checking your references, okay? So the last thing you want is to get the job, start work, and then lose it 2 months later because of something small you lied about on your CV, okay? Or you never know, you could be in the interview and they could mention something you lied about and you don't know how to talk about it. And that would be very, very awkward. Not that it's ever happened to me, I should say. So the next tip, make it look good. We live in a world where image is everything. It's all about how things look, and that also goes for your CV. So take some time to make it easy to read. Use bullet points. Keep sentences short. Make all the information easily presented, okay? Use the old trick of having lots of empty space around important things so the text is easy to read and easy on the eye. And the final one, make it keyword friendly, okay? What do I mean here? If you are using a job site, if you've uploaded your CV to a job site so recruiters can find you, then keywords are very important because that's what they will search. Job titles and job buzzwords will help a search engine pick out your CV, okay? So what do I mean? If you're going for a marketing job and you're putting your CV on a job site, make sure to mention search engine optimization, direct marketing, digital marketing among your experience and skills, because then when a recruiter searches for this, your CV will come up, okay? So make it make it keyword friendly. If I was uploading my CV to be an English teacher onto a job site, I would use keywords like teach, English, learners, experience, okay? Native, non-native, second language, first language. They would be keywords that I would use to make sure that my CV could be found on a job site. And that's what many people do. We have a site called jobs.ie here in Ireland, and that's actually how I found my job here at the Shaw Academy, using jobs.ie. So it is very helpful. Now, they're the top tips for making this CV. So let's put it all into practice. Let's look at a CV, okay? So let's start off here. Whose CV will we make? Well, what better CV is there to make than mine, Mark Kennelly. So here we have another good point. Do not have CV, resume, or curriculum vitae as the title. They are not the title. The title of your CV is you. You want the employer to remember your name. You are the title. This is all about you. Okay, so that's the first thing. Next up is your personal information. So this is very easy. Make sure you have your accurate address, phone number, and email, okay? And please, please, please make sure it's a professional email. Not manunitedrule@gmail.com or beerlover@yahoo.co.uk. Alright? Make sure it's a professional email, just like this, markkennelly@shawacademy.com. Now, I would like to point out that this is not my real address and this is not my real phone number. So don't be getting any ideas, guys, okay? Now, next up in your personal information, what about your date of birth? What about your nationality? Should we include these on your CV? What do you think? Or let me rephrase that. Do we have to include these on your CV? Are they necessary? Are they compulsory? Do we need to include them? Okay, Linda says not anymore, and Maria says no also. So, I would completely agree with you, or at least in Europe anyway. For your date of birth or nationality, you do not need to include them. But what I would say, if it gives you an advantage, include them. What do I mean by this? Think about this example. I'm going for a job as an English teacher. I'm tailoring my CV for the job of an English teacher. Should I include my nationality because I'm Irish? Would I include it? What do we think? Would that give me an advantage? Okay, would being Irish give me an advantage if I'm looking for an English teaching job? And the answer, of course, lots of yeses coming in. Yes, unfortunately, in the world we live in, it would. It would give me an advantage because English is my first language. Therefore, if they see nationality Irish, they know that English will be my first language, so it gives me an advantage. So, if your date of birth or your nationality gives you an advantage, then include it. Otherwise, you don't need to. Now, next up, what about a photograph? Now, lots of people think differently about photographs, and I am aware that it's different in different parts of the world, okay? I know that in the Middle East, you need a photograph, or certainly in some Middle Eastern countries, you must have a photograph on your CV. But I'm talking more about Europe and the US and Canada. And my general tip would be no, okay? Generally, no. I would not include a photo on your CV because it should not be needed, okay? But I am aware that in certain countries it is required. Now, obviously, a lot of this could be different in different parts of the world. I am focusing more on Europe and English-speaking countries, okay? So that's what I would be focusing on. Now, next up, we've got our professional summary or our personal statement. So, we talked about this in the top tips. Now, this should be a short statement describing your work style or management approach. And look here, use buzzwords. Buzzwords. Now, what are buzzwords? Buzzwords, very simply, are words that get your attention. Words that catch the reader's attention. So this is where you tailor it to the job and try and include words and qualities and styles that will catch the reader's attention. So let's look. I'm going for a teaching job, so let's look at my professional summary. Enthusiastic and personable educator with a passion for teaching who excels in a results-driven environment. Vast experience teaching classes of all sizes, from one-to-one tutorials to massive multinational webinars. Now let's look at the buzzwords here. Enthusiastic, personable, okay, passion for teaching, excels in results-driven environment, vast experience, classes of all sizes, massive multinational webinars, okay? These are buzzwords. Buzzwords, okay? They catch the reader's attention. So that is tailored towards a teaching job. If you read that, you think, wow, he's enthusiastic, he's personable, he loves teaching, this and that, he's lots of experience. Okay? So that is what you should be aiming to do with your professional summary. But obviously tailor it to the job that you are applying for. So some of these qualities might not apply for an accountant, for example. So make sure you're tailoring it to the specific job. Now let's move on to the next part of our CV, which is the work history, okay? Your work history or your relevant work experience. Now, there are many different ways you can organize this. I have laid it out in a very simple way. Remember, we want our CV to be easy to read. We want the employer to be able to find any piece of information they're looking for. So this is just an example of how I lay out my CV. So let's look at our most recent. When we do work history or relevant work experience, always start with your most recent and work backwards. So here we have the date, March 2015 to present. Okay, that means I am still working here. March 2015 to present. And then the position, head of English faculty, and then the company and where they're located. So, head of English faculty, Shaw Academy, Dublin, Ireland. Very simple. You don't need any more details than that. Now, let's look at our roles or responsibilities in the company. And this is where we want to use bullet points to make everything easy to read and clear. Okay, so Mark was the head of the English faculty. Okay, but what did he do? Well, let's see. Designed and taught both foundation and advanced level online English courses. Conducted live webinars to over 8,000 students each month. Held one-to-one phone consultations with students. Participated in student interactions across all social media platforms. Now look at that. They were the responsibilities or the duties carried out in that job. And look again at the buzzwords. So for work history or relevant work experience, first of all, only include relevant work experience. Only include work experience that have some qualities which will benefit you in the job you're applying for. Bullet point your achievements, duties and responsibilities, and use action words. So notice that I did not write I designed and I taught, I conducted, I held, I participated. No, when you're doing this on CVs, get rid of the personal pronoun I and just start your sentences with the action words: managed, increased, created, designed, taught, conducted, held, participated. Action words, okay? Because it tells the employer that this is what you did this, you did this, okay? So it's a little tip that we use on CVs. Now let's move to our next piece of work experience. September 2013 to February 2015. English language teacher, that's the position. Where? International House, Dammam, Saudi Arabia. Okay, so Mark was also a teacher in Saudi Arabia in a school. Now let's look at his responsibilities or his duties. taught small to mid-sized classes of non-native speaking industry professionals, covered general, technical and business English from elementary to advanced levels, constructed assessments and examinations monthly, prepared advanced students for IELTS exams with a 100% pass rate. So look again, taught, covered, constructed, prepared, action words. Now let's move on. September 2012 to June 2013. English language tutor, École de Langue, Paris, France. And that really just means language school, okay? Language school in Paris, France. École de Langue. And let's see our responsibilities. Tutored small groups of English learners from ages 11 to 17. Created fun and interactive activity-based classes. Chaperoned students on various class excursions. Okay, so this word chaperoned, if you chaperone children, you're supervising them. You accompany them and you supervise them, okay? So accompanied and supervised students on various class excursions. And excursions just means class trips. Class trips. So again, action words, tutored, created, chaperoned. So look at all those action words. It shows all the different responsibilities and duties I had. Now, usually three different jobs would be enough, okay? If you really need to include another one, that's no problem. You can squeeze it in. But remember, we want to try keep this CV to 2 pages. So, after work history, we move on to education. And education is the same as work history. Start with the most recent. However, with education, we don't go into too much detail. So, education, you'll simply give your qualification, the year you received it, and the institute you received it from. And that's all the information that you need. So, CELTA qualification, 2014, that's the year I got it. Language Centre Ireland, which is located in Dublin, Ireland. Very simple. Then work backwards. Masters in Arts in English, okay, in 2013 in the University College Cork, which is in Cork, Ireland. Work backwards again. Bachelor of Arts in Language Studies, 2011, Trinity College Dublin, which is located in Dublin, Ireland. And that is enough detail, okay? If you want, you can include your high school examinations or anything like that, your SATs or the Leaving Cert or A-levels, depending on what country you are in. But that would be enough. The education is just looking for your qualifications more than anything else. Now, next up, we move on to key skills. Now it's time to show off, okay? So, what are your strengths? And it's time to show off and tell the employer about your strengths. Now, what I advise to do is split your skills into categories. So, first up, interpersonal skills. Okay, that means how you interact with other people. Interpersonal skills. So, short, snappy sentences to show off. Confident public speaker. So that's obviously a good one for teaching. You can speak in public confidently. Adapted to speak to language learners. Another great one for an English teacher, okay? So I have adapted to speak well to language learners, as I'm sure all of you can agree. Now let's look at our next set of skills. Computer skills. There are very few jobs out there anymore where you will not have to use a computer at some stage. So computer skills are very important. Look here. Competent in all Microsoft Office programs. So competent means you can use, okay, without problems. You can use all Microsoft Office programs without problems. You're competent in all of them. Next up, proficient in the use of Photoshop. Now, proficient means you're very good, okay? You're excellent. Proficient in the use of Photoshop. You excel. And that's true. I've taken the Photoshop and the advanced Photoshop courses here in Shaw Academy, so I am proficient in the use of Photoshop. Experienced Salesforce user. Okay, so Salesforce is just a tool that is used in many companies, okay? It's a website or an app that is used in many companies. So if you're familiar with things like this, include it. Experienced Salesforce user. Next up, and this is one that all of you should be including, language skills, guys. Language skills. Every single one of you has at least 2 languages. You have your native language, and what other language do you have? What's the second language that every single one of you has? Of course, English. And don't be afraid to say it, okay? Every single one of you has your native language, whether it's Indian, Arabic, Spanish, French, whatever it may be. But you've also got English. And Hira is saying you have 4 languages. So make sure to mention them. Because imagine this. 2 identical CVs. Okay? 2 people that are almost identical. However, one person speaks 3 languages and the other person only speaks English. Well then, you're obviously going to choose the person who has English, Spanish and Arabic over the one who just has English. So, don't be afraid to show off the languages you have. And you can slightly exaggerate here, slightly. So just as an example of what you can say, intermediate level French. Okay, so maybe I would have that on my CV. I learned French for 6 years. Okay, so intermediate level French. Conversational Arabic. Now, conversational is a nice one to use because it doesn't really mean much. If you say conversational, what it really means is you have enough words or enough vocabulary to hold a small conversation. So if you know a little bit of a language, you can include it as conversational. For a lot of you, I would say proficient English or advanced level English. If you're not that confident, use intermediate. All of you should be at least intermediate level English. Okay, so show off your languages. And then the final section I would use is personal skills. And this is where you can add anything else in, like strong attention to detail, work well under pressure, okay? So they're things that employers like to see. So include them. You can copy that exactly if you want. I don't mind. Now, moving on to the final section of our CV, we have further qualifications and achievements. So let's look at qualifications first. So anything further which you have not mentioned in education. So any certificates, any training courses, anything you want to include. If you think it will help or it shows good abilities about yourself, then include it. So I have TEFL qualification, teaching English as a foreign language qualification. Obviously. Next up, a full ECDL. This stands for European Computer Driving License, and that is a test you do to show that you can use a computer and all of its programs and functions. And I know they use one. Now this is European Computer Driving License, but I know you have a similar one in the Middle East. I think it's called the ICDL. I think lots of places have the equivalent of it. Next up, full driving license. Always good to include just in case. Full driving license, why not? It can't hurt. Now, next up, diploma in English. Okay, all of you are currently on diploma in English for beginners. Advanced diploma in nutrition. What do you think? Should we include these in further qualifications? What do we think, guys? Let me know in your chat box. Should we include these in further qualifications? I wonder. Yeah, lots of, well, a big of course from Mohammed. Okay, some people saying no. Of course we should, guys. Of course you should. These show that you have upskilled yourself outside of work, okay? These show that you have been constantly trying to improve yourself. Self-improvement outside of work. That's brilliant for an employer to see. That's what they want to see. It shows you've got drive. It shows you're committed. You're ambitious, okay? So absolutely include these. Now, what about these next ones? 2015 Dublin Marathon finisher. Captain of Barnhall Rugby Football Club first team. Volunteered in Kenya for 3 months. Okay, so what about these 3? Do you think we should include these? Marathon finisher, captain of the rugby team, volunteered in Kenya for 3 months. Should we include these? People saying no again. Well, let me ask you a question. If you completed a marathon, what does that say about you? What does it say about you if you completed a marathon? It says you're committed. It says you're dedicated. It says you don't give up, okay? So you have to think about what these achievements say about your character, okay? So, if you finished a marathon, you're committed. You don't give up. Of course it shows that you're sporty. If you're captain of the rugby club, what does that say? It shows that you work well as part of a team. It also shows you can be a leader, okay? You're captain of the team. You have leadership qualities. So you've got teamwork, you've got leadership. So definitely include them. Volunteered in Kenya for 3 months. Absolutely. Charity work. It shows you don't only care about yourself, you do things for other people, to help other people. So these are all absolutely brilliant to include in your CV. If any of you have anything like that, definitely include it. They are your achievements. Anything you are proud of which shows good qualities, okay? I can't stress that enough. They're brilliant. You're committed. You're a leader. You work as part of a team. You work for other people, okay? Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I would love to see that on a CV. And then finally, guys, we have references. And it's perfectly okay to say available on request, okay? References available on request. And that means if they want references, they will ask you for them at a later date. So it's perfectly okay to have available on request, but if you are including references, 2 is usually enough. And just remember, no relatives, no family members, okay? That was one of the top tips. So that is your CV, guys. That's how to create the perfect CV. Now, a question to make sure you are all listening. Which do you think is the most important for your CV? Now, All of these are important, but which is the most important? Good references, all of your education details, tailor it for each specific job, plenty of achievements to show off, a bachelor's or master's degree. So which of these do you think is the most important? Okay? And I see lots of answers coming in and lots of correct answers that I would agree with. So Linda, Lizette, Iman, Goethe as well. Fantastic. Nizreen. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Shaima as well. It is number 3, okay? Tailor it for the specific job. Because you can have good references, you can have a master's degree, but if it doesn't apply to the job that you're going for, then it's not much good, okay? So the most important thing is to tailor each CV for each specific job. That is the most important. Exactly. Nevin, Alan, Naveed, fantastic. Liliana as well. Brilliant, brilliant work, okay? So that's the perfect CV, guys. And that's how to get your CV approved and make it to the next step. Yes, of course, I'd love to come in for an interview. Now let's have a look at your next steps. And I want to introduce you to this man here. Does anyone know who this man is? Okay, Hira, could you please stop typing in dots into the chat box, because I can't see anyone else's questions. If you continually type dots like that, I'll have to remove you from the webinar, okay? So, does anyone know who this man is? This gentleman is called Satya Nadella. His name is Satya Nadella. And he works for Microsoft. But he doesn't only work for Microsoft, he is the CEO of Microsoft. So Satya Nadella, for anyone who did not know, he is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, so the person at the top, the very tip top, the person who runs the company at Microsoft. So let's have a look at Satya's LinkedIn profile. So here we have, there's the man himself, Satya Nadella, and we can see he is the CEO at Microsoft. And we can see down here that he joined Microsoft in 1992. Okay, so he's worked there for a long time. Now, let's move down his LinkedIn page and have a look at his education. So as we can see here, Satya was originally from India. Satya studied in Mangalore University in India first, and he studied electrical engineering. Now, after studying this in his native language, Satya realized that he needed to study this field in English if he wanted to progress and really do what he loved. So, that's when he moved to the United States. That's when he moved to the United States and attended the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee to do a master's degree in computer science, okay? He learned it in his own language first and then furthered his learning to master it through English, okay? Then look what happened. He moved on to the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. But look at the years he attended the University of Chicago. 94 to 96. But we know that he joined Microsoft in 1992. So what does this tell us? Even when he had a good job in Microsoft, he continued to upskill himself, to improve himself outside of work. He had set goals and stuck to them. He studied his field in his native Telugu language and then made a life-changing jump to go and study it further through English. He then had a great job in one of the biggest companies around, but this wasn't enough for Satya. He wanted to continue learning, and that's what I'm trying to get at here, guys. Continued learning and continued upskilling. It's what Satya did, and it's what all of you should do. And what better way to continue learning and upskilling than with us here at the Shaw Academy. Take control of your future just like Satya did, and then who knows? It could be you. You could be the head of Microsoft or the CEO of Shaw Academy or a big company like that, okay? So really, you can be a success is what I'm trying to say here. Now guys, unfortunately, we have come to the end of the entire English for Beginners course, where we helped you to speak and write English confidently, okay? I really want to say thank you for all of your efforts. It's been hugely appreciated. So guys, make sure to ace your final assignment, get that distinction you want, and I want to hear about your distinction. When you get that distinction, make sure to email me and tell me. I want to be proud of all of you, okay? So to all of you, it's been a pleasure. I'm about to start crying, so I'm going to end the webinar now, okay? Goodbye, everybody. It's been fantastic.
Hello everyone, I hope you have been enjoying your course so far. I wanted to talk to you briefly about what your next steps are and what Shaw can do for you. Do you know what you get as a member of Shaw Academy, or how you can make the most of your membership and go even further with your learning? I want you to think about your goals. What do you hope to achieve with us? When you signed up to this course, you had a particular target in mind, and do you feel that you are close to achieving that target? What do you want to achieve this year, and what do you want to do next year? Where do you want to go with your learning? We have students all over the world, and we want to help you with your goals, and our courses are tailored to suit your needs. So whether you want to enter a new industry with your skills, maybe you want to gain a promotion within your current industry, perhaps you want to start your own business, or perhaps you simply love the subject and you want to improve in it, you want to get the most out of the subject that you enjoy. No matter what your goal is, we can help you. And how we do that is through 4 simple steps: through education, upskilling, support from us when you need it, and the application of the skills that you are learning on the courses that will help you to achieve success. Not only that, many of our courses are level 5 EQF accredited. This is a globally recognized qualification. You can see some equivalencies there on your screen at the moment. It is recognized all over the world as a higher level certificate. As a member, you have access to all our faculties, and every faculty is full of courses for you to complete. Currently, we have 6 different faculties, and as a member, you have access to them all. So let's have a quick look at them. First off is our business and marketing faculty, with loads and loads of courses here for you to complete to help to improve your business. Perhaps you want to start a new business, perhaps you want to go further in the current industry that you are in. No matter what it is, your goal here, everything that you need to know about marketing can be found within our marketing faculty. Our finance faculty doesn't have a huge number of courses in it, but the courses that it has are designed to help you to earn more money. Simply put, to help you to make more income for yourself. Our trading course is the very first course that we created here in Shaw Academy, and it's still going very strong. And recently we branched out and created a new cryptocurrency course as well. Very, very popular area. You want to learn how to trade, you want to learn how to make a bit of money for yourself, be sure to have a look at our finance course. Perhaps our most popular faculty is the photography faculty. And as you can imagine, this faculty covers everything to do with photography. So we have a look at basic photography, advanced photography. If you want to become a wedding photographer, we have a course on that as well. Smartphone photography. If you want to get into video production, we also have editing courses within Lightroom and so much more too. Everything that you need to practice photography, whether you want to do photography for the love of it, perhaps you wanted to get into photography as a career for yourself. Everything that you need is contained within this faculty. And that goes very well then with our tech and design faculty, which looks at areas like graphic design, Photoshop, if you want to learn mobile app development, how to design your own website. This is where you're going to find it within our tech and design faculty. And perhaps you just want to take care of yourself and look after yourself. Perhaps you want to get in shape this year. Perhaps you want to get into teaching others about nutrition. Our health and wellness faculty has courses in nutrition, sports nutrition for all you athletes out there, and everything that you need to get yourself into a healthier lifestyle. Finally then, our lifestyle faculty is our newest faculty, which covers courses like music, guitar, beauty, cookery, and this is one that is growing rapidly. So all those everyday skills that you've always wanted to learn more about, you will find within our lifestyle faculty. And there's new courses being added to these faculties all the time. Now this is a very quick overview of all the courses that Shaw has to offer. Be sure to have a look at our website, shawacademy.com, to check out all the courses that might interest you. Now, if you're not already a member, or perhaps you want to upgrade your membership to give yourself more time to complete these courses, we have a very exciting announcement. We are offering 50% off for a limited time. So 50% off our membership for a very limited time. We have a number of price options to suit every pocket, but if you're after the best value and you're after the most amount of time, the 12-month membership is our most popular offer, as it gives you plenty of time to complete as many courses as you like. And just think about how many level 5 certificates you could achieve within that time period. Now we do display the price here in euro, but there is over 30 currencies available. So if you're from the US, if you're from South Africa, if you're from India, if you're from Australia or New Zealand or Canada or somewhere in Europe, check the link in your login area to see the price in your own currency. You can also check out the emails as well. We'll send you some emails with some information about the offer too. So if you want access to all courses, if you want exclusive content for members only, if you want level 5 qualifications, if you want premium student support, and if you want uninterrupted flexible learning, upgrade today to start enjoying the benefits of a membership. I'll just bring up those prices one last time. So if you have any questions about this at all, please reach out to us at support.shawacademy.com for more information. Be sure to check your emails and check your student login area as well. You'll find plenty of information about this offer. You'll also see the countdown timer. Unfortunately, this offer is only available for a limited time. So thank you so much for allowing me to bring this exciting announcement to you. And I hope to see you very soon on another course here in Shaw Academy. Bye for now.